remember now. I think we did.
Okay, how do you look at this?
It's ready.
Okay.
Well, good morning. It certainly is a pleasure to be out here in Jackson County evaluating your Market Hogs show today. Again, up here. And we get into this first drive as the open class and kind of some junior drive deal and studying these Market Hogs out here. I think there's one that just continues to surface for me as we build him from the ground up. He's wide-chested. He's opened up plenty in his blade. He spans plenty of product from there to his hip. I just like how stout and massive it is, and as the drive goes on, he starts to get a little more hesitant, but I think he's still comfortable enough for me, and the young man's doing an excellent job driving him. I like the young man's Duroc Barrow right here to win the class. I think on the opposite end for second, there's another one out here that to me just follows in terms of quality of still having plenty of chest floor, being comfortable, has a good look from the sides, probably better there. For me, just isn't as massive, but still good looking and comfortable young man right here with the belted barrow is the one I like next. Third in this drive is one I think that it just shows me a little bit more lean shape, works plenty of muscle dimension up high, still likes how it comes and goes, could hook the top line together a little more coordinated when I study it right behind the blade, but young lady over here on the far end is going to land in 3 for me. For 4, it's another one gets very close. I just don't read him as opened up as the one in 3rd, but the young man right here with the spotted up market gilt, he's going to land in 4. And then one that's a top side of its skeleton, I just want it to match underneath, still has a big legs, want to expand the forerib in the center, is a young lady that right here lands in 5. We're going to round out the class with the speckle rump barrow here. Another one, don't take nothing away this guy because he's opened up in that blade, works a ton of spread up high, stout going away, needs to be more comfortable as he comes and goes. Let's go ahead and give all these exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Everyone's going to like to hear you more.
Congratulations to Tate Yeski with the first blue and champion in the open class. Gage Castle with the second blue. Millie Krivitz with the first red. Reese Gerke with a second red. Adeline Bush with the first white, and Lavina Bush with a second white. Coming into the ring now, we have our Pee Wee showmanship for the open class.
And a 7-year-old at home and talk about them and just getting them out in the ring and getting them driving as soon as you start. I think we got some ages 4 all the way up to 7, 8 out here in the ring when I talk to him. But just for champion, it's competitive. But then there's one that you can tell he's definitely put in the work at home. Gets the pig out here, just naturally shows itself off. I think he's very well attached to it. Young man right here with the cool hair is going to definitely handle showmanship.
You can just say congratulations, Gage Castle, with your grand champion, Pee Wee Showman, and just so he was done in the world. Okay, and then just say congratulations to all the other. Yep, all the other blue ribbons.
Congratulations to Gage Castle being this year's top Pee Wee showman, and congratulations to all the other exhibitors in showmanship. We'd like to thank Plum Hill Farm, Melon Moms, Mug Knits, and more, Blackburn Memorial Hospital, Hannah and Mike Olson, Terry and Paula Hagen, Jerome and Hope Lockenberg, and MRB Ranch for this, as they were the sponsors of the buckets and the awards for these Pee Wee showmen. Next, we will be moving into our junior show, and we will be starting with our barrels. Our lightweight A barrels are ranging from 223 pounds to 231 pounds.
Woo! Atta girl, final.
Way flight out here, and I think in my mind there's just one that if you talk about the basics of a market hog and what they need to do, in my mind, one that comes at you, he's stout in his chest floor, he's opened up in his blade, he's big up high, stout going away from you and still flexible. Maybe pick him up, make him a shot more attractive. I haven't really seen him drive with his head up yet, so we don't know he's tearing around here, but he's definitely an athlete. Young man's chromed up belted hog right here in the center of the ring is going to win the class. I think second and third, it gets very close for me. There's a pair out here that I'd like to take pieces and put into each one of them to make them more ideal for me, but I think there's one that's just a little bit more correct in his skeleton, and that'd be the young man's Duroc behind there that ends in 2. I love how elevated that one is from the side. I like his advantage in foot size and bone over the young man's black chromed up a barrow here in the center. I like how he comes at me in the chest floor a shot more. I want to put a higher degree of muscle and make him a little stouter going away, particularly compared to that one. No doubt that young man's is the highest cutability in the class. It lands in 3. I love the top shape up there. That ditch is still holding water on that one. I got to make him more comfortable off of both ends of the skeleton to get him ahead of the Duroc, but still it's going to be a quality market hog that's not quite done. Round out the class with the young lady's sock barrow here, one that is super attractive from the side. I love when she gets this one up and going, but one that I want to lay back in the shoulder to help him be more comfortable when he moves. But more importantly, I just got to stouten up the feature on his skeleton and put more total muscle on that thing as well to compete with the rest of the class. Let's give these exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Hugh Hansen with a first blue, Doyle Hagen with his second blue, Brett Mossman with a first red, and Morgan Berg with a second red. Coming into the ring now, we have our lightweight B barrels. These barrels are ranging from 238 to 252 pounds. We'd like the medium weight A barrels to be on deck. Judge is Ben Drescher, originally from Conger, Minnesota, grew up raising and showing pigs and sheep through 4-H and FFA. He then went to Iowa State University, where he was a member of the 2004 livestock judging team. He is currently employed as the Animal Science Farms Director at Iowa State and resides outside Boone, Iowa, where his family raises and shows pigs and are active in youth sports and are on the Cyclone Athletics.
Cheer. And cheer on with a second.
A.
start to dial up the competition definitely in this barrow drive in this class. And there's 3 out here I think are all in contention in my mind, and little things I want to change about each one of them. But I think the logical spot to land in my mind is just putting Comfort a Skeleton on a wide main one with plenty of shape up high and stout going away from you. Then he gets up and drives away from you. I like the young man's blue belted barrow here to win the class. Ideally, I got to make him a little bigger in his ankle, but beyond that, he's just square and more comfortable than the 2 remaining out here. No doubt the stouty of the drive is the young man's here. I love this one when he comes at you in his chest floor, how square he is from there to blade to knee, where I got to change him in his hip structure. I got to make him a shot nickel longer from there back to allow him to plant, reach, and drive with more authority off of his rear too to get above the young man's. And it's just sheer comfort that decides that. Young man in third here is one that I think is still, he's square, he's good looking from the side, he's comfortable when he moves. He just gives up an extra shot of muscularity and another extra shot of skeletal width that we've got in those first 2, but still a very good type of market barrow here. The 2 young gentlemen coming out in 4 and 5, 2 barrows that you like for the center section. You like how productive they are in their rib. They're dropped in their flank. Ones we got changed in the profile, allow them to hitch up in their top line a shot better compared to what we got above them. Maybe make them a shot wider as they come and go too. No doubt the young man coming out and here has the skeleton to put more on, especially as I study him behind. Love how productive the Berkshire appearing barrow here has come out in 7. One that I just got to change his feet and legs, makes him more comfortable as he goes and clean him up in the lower part of the skeleton. Still love the expression and what he's offering up high there, though. That's a good type of stout made market hog. The two exhibitors coming out in 7 and 8 with the more Yorkshire appearing barrows too, that definitely athletic. We like that about them, like their feet and legs, how they go. But when you compare them to the rest of the drive too, they're just progressively narrow in their skeleton and they're frailer featured, not as expansive in the degree of muscling as they go away from you. Go ahead and congratulate those exhibitors with a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Chase Campen with a first blue, Nolan Norgard with a second blue, Aiden Stetzer with a first red, Doyle Hagen with a second red, Easton Arneson with a first white, Luke Fisher with a second white, Andrea Ellickson with a first pink, and Evan Ellickson with a second pink. Coming into the ring now, we have our medium weight A barrows. These hogs are ranging from 254 to 266 pounds. We'd like the medium weight B barrows to come on deck.
Hi, I'm Francesca Zenkraff. I'm the first attendant. My mom is Tammy Mock, and my dad is Eric Zenkraff. My favorite part about the fair is probably all the fair food. Hi, I'm Ella Halverson, and I'm the Miss Jackson County second attendant, and my favorite thing about the fair is probably to see all the animals.
Hi, I'm Noelle Ferguson, and I'm this year's Miss Jackson County third attendant, and my favorite part about the fair is probably all the rides.
Hi, well, I better come up here. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Wagner. I am this year's Fairest to the Fair. My favorite thing about the fair is probably the fair food.
Hello, everybody. My name is Franny Everson, and I'm currently serving as your 2023 Fairest of the Fair first attendant. My favorite part about the fair is definitely going to walk through the barns and see what all of the hard work that the youth have put into their projects.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, ladies.
Woohoo!
Is out here, and the one that if we just continue put a stout-made, good-looking barrow that's comfortable and mobile, in that package, that's going to be the young lady's blue one that comes out here. This one can drive the surface all day, and I like that about it, and still say comfortable. He's not as stout-featured nor as big-backed as the young man's that lands in second, and I'll be the first to admit that, but he's the one that squares up more correctly, is right in his front toes, and I think he offers a shot more reach off of his rear too as he comes and goes. Take nothing away though from these young men. That's a big top, fresh, hydrated top, good looking type of barrow, one that I just want to square him up as he goes away from me, but more importantly in his front feet. I got to pick those up the ground and allow him to set them down square and truer as he comes and goes. Really good top pair of barrows there to sort from. One young man drove in the ring and I really tied on to initially is this gray one here. This is one I love, a squareness and the width that thing comes at you with from the chest to the ground. As the drive goes on though, he is too upright in his blade. He needs to lay down and be more relaxed in his spine to compete with the comfort of those two ahead of him. Young man coming out in 4. This is one that's just a good build, basic type of barrow. He's still wide-chested. He's big on the bottom side of his skeleton and his feet and his ankle. He's got plenty of dimension up high and going away from you. One, I just got to put more center in him and give him a shot more there to compete with what's ahead of him and get him up and get him moving. Really like the young lady's barrow coming out in 5, 2. Another one that comes at you wide made, good looking from the side. It's his hip structure that concerns me from a mobility standpoint as he starts to drop in his loin and deviate from when I study him from behind. The young lady's Hereford too. This is another one that just simply outdrove the competition below her as the drive went on. It's one I want to open him up in the chest for to match what's behind there because he does work plenty of true muscle dimension on there. You can still see a blade working behind there and there still is a groove down his top indicating to me that there's more red meat back there than there is white meat. Like that one awfully well. Similar can be said for the young lady's belted one here. I just got to change how this one comes and goes off the backside. But the front 2/3, again, good looking, big-footed, stout featured there. Young Men's Blue Barrow is another one comes out when you start to study him. He comes and goes with comfort and ease, but there's just got to be more to him to match on the bottom side of that skeleton compared to what's ahead of him. I want to crack him open. We round out the class with 2 more barrows that are good type of production, basic build barrows that need to be cracked open underneath on their skeleton. They need a shot more definition on the top side as well to compete above what's above them. Let's give those exhibitors all a nice round of applause for their projects.
Congratulations to Kendall Campen with a first blue.
No.
Oh,
Emma.
excuse me.
Hold on, let me get that fixed.
Emma Campen, first blue.
First blue, first white.
Yep.
Okay, now we're good.
All right, here we go. Emma Campen with a first blue. Also in that class, we had Jack Laufenberg with a second blue.
Nolan with the first red.
Nolan Norgard with a first red. Emmett Settlebar with a second red. Macy Casper with a third red. Clayton Castle with a first pink. Aspen Krasinski with a second pink. And Andrea Ellickson with a third pink. Coming into the ring now, we have our medium weight B barrows. These barrows are ranging from 268 to 283. We'd like our heavyweight A barrows to come on deck.
It's too many of them, right? Okay. Lance and Lindsay are Emma and Chase's parents.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Neil and Cindy are Kendall's. I don't like it.
There's one out here that I think just puts all the pieces together to handle this class. This is the one that's square coming, square going away from you, puts in a nice profile, opens up in the chest floor. She's good in his center rib, good in his flank, and more importantly is the one that's built right in the structure of the drive. Young man's a good place to start. Young man here with the belted barrow is the one that's going to land in 3, and honestly, it's when they drive at me that sorts this pair for me. This one is simply square from his blade to ground and cracked open wider in his chest floor. From there back, he's laid down more correctly in his shoulder, allowing him to carry his spine a shot leveler and more comfortable as he comes and goes. Want to change the back third of that one skeleton, maybe stouten up his feature ever so slightly. The young lady's masked barrow does excel him there, but this is one that gets upright in its blade. She deviates at the ground in her toes. I want to change that about her. Still love the shape on the top side, love the freshness and skeleton of that one, and that hip structure is what gets her above 4 and 5 out here. Young man coming out. Still the sock barrow is one just basic in his build. He's open in his chest floor. He's good on the top side, stout going away from you, good in his bone work. I think he handles his hip a shot more correctly than the young man coming out in 5. This is one that up high and everything he's packing there, especially going away from you. He just needs to open up at his knee and the bottom side of his skeleton, and he starts to tuck and roll too when he goes away from you. Young man's chromed up barrow, and it's another one that's just good and basic in his build. But another one, it's the same thing. Want to spread him open in his chest floor and his knee compared to what's above him. Put more true muscle, different dimension on the top side of his skeleton as compared to some of those that come down too. I like how pliable the young lady's white barrow is. This one that comes and goes with plenty of comfort and flex. And similar can be said for the belted one coming out too. Just give us up quite a bit more in terms of overall muscling. Compared to above them, she does have that advantage, though, over the young lady in 8. Young lady is simply higher cutability than 9 and 10, 2 barrows in 9 and 10. They do have that extra skeletal width, but as we study them coming and going, they're ones that just are a little past 12 o'clock. They start to concern us from a compositional standpoint. Young man in 9 simply being works out of a more comfortable skeleton than the one in 10. Let's go ahead and congratulate these exhibitors on their projects.
Congratulations to Cole Laufenberg with a first blue, Adam Osman with a second blue, Ryan Ruzick with a first red, Trey Babcock with a second red,
Aiden Stetzer.
Aiden Stetzer with a third red, Brett Mossman with a first white, Katie Settlebar with a second white, Julia Berg with a first pink, Jackson Peterson with a second pink, and Deacon Brown with a third pink. Coming into the ring now, we have our heavyweight A barrows. These barrows are ranging from 284 to 294 pounds. On deck, we would like our heavyweight B barrows.
is to sort through in the top end of this class out here, but I think there's two that you settle on just on sheer comfort of skeleton as they come and go, and then their look from the side is second to none when we study them from the profile. And then you get down to build and balance, and there's one that just simply puts more product on the totals of that skeleton, and that's the young lady's belted barrel. Love how that one comes and goes and hinges out of its hind leg, maybe a shot better too than the young man's. The young man's, there's no doubt that one opens up in his chest floor. Ideally, that's where I change my class winner. But if you get hung up on single trait that one, you miss the good and the rest of him. But still, two very good barrows on the top side. Young lady at the third, this is the one that's the big stouty. She's the one that's big-legged. That's my kind of barrow you're driving right here, especially when he comes at you and gives you that chest floor view, pulls the head up and goes. It's one I got to change structurally, allow him to be more comfortable in the ring when he comes and goes, particularly off the back third of that skeleton. Young lady comes out in 4. I like this barrow. I love the top 2/3 of this one. When you study it, he's still big top, thick-ended, gets a little plainer, more compacted, probably doesn't balance as well, being a little shorter hip. Want to clean him up on the bottom side of his skeleton, make him a shot bigger in his foot and ankle down there too, but a very nice barrow. Opposite can be said for the Yorkshire Peering Barrow down in 5, one that he is wide-chested when he comes at you, works plenty of spread up high. I got to expand him in his foregrip. More importantly, I got to clean him up and flatten him in his joints, freshen him up underneath on the bottom side of his skeleton. Young man's Chester Peering Barrow. I love this guy, how pliable he is and productive out of his center. He's still big-legged. A lot of good things yet in this barrow. One that gets a little bit more conventional, wants to round off of his hip and just needs to be more comfortable. Gets a little past 12 o'clock in his composition. Similar for the white barrow coming out here, one that just needs to be cracked open in his chest floor, make him more three-dimensional on the top side of his skeleton too. White barrow coming out in 8 is another one similar, can be said, just not quite as stout and as dense featured as the one ahead of him, and then clean him up. Love for being
Congratulations to Lauren Norgard with the first blue, Adam Osman with the second blue, Macy Casper with the first red, Alexa Blaken with a second red, Wyatt Berg with the first white, Preston Yeski with a second white, Doyle Hagan with the first pink, Evan Ellickson with a second pink, and Deacon Brown with the third pink. Coming into the ring now, we have our heavyweight B barrows. These hogs are ranging from 299 to 306 pounds.
one that just gets out here and parades itself and to me says, hey, I'm here for the party. Go ahead and pick me. I think the young lady's chromed up barrow out here is one. You fix that left front tire on her, she gets a little tender on there. One, though, that can definitely rival it because that is a big-footed, stout-made market barrow that actually works more true dimension of muscle behind its blade and out to its hip. Just not as comfortable today and not as elevated as the young man that wins the class. Young lady's blue barrow that comes out in second is another one, just very basic in its build. I like its bone work. I like its muscularity up high, its proportions. Want to change that one's skeleton. I want to lay it back in his blade, and more importantly, it's the hip line out to that tail rib, level that out compared to the two above it, and put a shot more going away from it as well to get up any higher in the class. The all black barrow coming out in 4, one that on the top 2/3 of this guy too, you like tremendously well. He gets out, he gives you a beautiful profile from the side. We like that. Works plenty of shape and high cutability one from his blade back to his hip. It's the bottom side of the skeleton that concerns me. One that's just not as stout in his feature. He's closed up compared to what's above him in class, but still a very good type of market barrow for the young man. Young lady coming out in 5 is another white barrow that's all very productive in the center portions of her body. One that is bigger footed than the one behind him, but one that is progressively narrow from blade to hip. One that gets a little plainer on the top side, still stout on the back side, going away, big footed, like that about it too. Round out the class with the 2 Berkshire appearing barrows that are big ribbed and bolt centered. We love that about these two. They can start to concern me from a compositional standpoint, and I'd like to see them come and go with more comfort and flex as well. Let's give these exhibitors for a nice round of applause for what they brought out today.
Congratulations to Jay Stetzer with a first blue, Sadie Brown with a second blue, Leah Blaken with a first red, Brady Blaken with a second red, Haley Hansen with a first white, Jackson Peterson with a second white, and Xander Krasinski with a first pink.
That's my first year announcing. I went to start it and I was like, I actually don't know it. Okay, so now we'll be
In the ring now, we will be bringing in our first and second blues from all the weight classes except the lightweight A barrels, as those hogs did not meet the weight requirement. And the judge will be selecting our Grand and Reserve Champion barrow.
So Jay should really bring his pig out.
Let's go ahead and congratulate our exhibitors out here for this champion drive. Definitely thank you for what you've done putting these things together out here for these barrows all summer long. And the ones left back in the barn, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, I only get to pick one, and all these exhibitors are out here competing and fighting for that one banner spot. But kind of these things exemplify what I've been kind of going after all day long. They're ones that they're good looking from the side, and then we step in front of them where our priorities are. We want them stout-legged, stout in their chest floor, and opened up in their blade, putting plenty of dimension and muscle from there on back. And then we get behind them and see how that hind leg hinges and flexes and goes. They got to be right and proportional from their pins out to that tail root for me too, allowing them to grab and flex and when they come and go, so they look a shot more comfortable. I think there's one that does that just a little bit better there. I think there's one that just for his weight, he's the stoutest in his pin set, and he's fresh and he's hydrated up high. He still looks good from the side. One I'd maybe stouten up a little bit more. Young man right here out of your lightweight class is going to be your champion. Bring that reserve out. And again, another one we talked about was very close and can push some others out here. And these others I all like very well, and they're very good types of bear. It's a young lady out here. This is one that I love, this one as it comes and goes, the blue one. I love this one proportionally is right, and its bone work still has plenty of reach and flex. Just wish up high. It was a little bit more hydrated, had more of a groove in that one's top. The young lady's belted one above along the wall is another one that proportional, foot and bone, top shape. That one is right and correct in its hip. Just got to crack that one open a shot more in its chest floor. The all white one here is love the crispest shape and comfort that one exhibits. Another one, want to blow that open in the center portion of the body. Then the heavyweight out here driving is one that just has to command your attention from the ringside. He's still opened up. He narrows a little bit more to his pin set compared to some of the others out here, but that is one. He's big in his chest floor. He's still comfortable. He's good looking from the side. That's my second favorite, is the heavyweight. Congratulations. Nice job, young man. Nice job, young lady. Congratulations. Hey, nice job. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Chase Campen having this year's Grand Champion Barrow. His banner was sponsored by Spring Creek Livestock. Congratulations to Jay Stetzer having this year's Reserve Champion Barrow. His banner was sponsored by Blair Meat Market.
Jay on Bread and Own. Okay.
In the ring now, we have our Bred and Owned.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and congratulate our exhibitors in their bred-known division, because even this division is definitely very competitive. Out here on the top side, I think I got 2 class winners out here competing for champion and reserve in the bred-known division, and it's tough to do too. Talking to a guy that bred some that won his county fair too, that his daughter showed, and it takes a lot of extra work, and that planning probably started a couple of weeks ago. But young man's belted one that was reserved is going to be your champion in this division, and then the young man's white one is going to be reserved. 2 tremendous types of market barrows there, and we talked them in class. I think for third it's very, very close, but I like just the extra comfort, and I think there's a shot more leanness of the young man in the green shirt is going to land in fourth. For me, fifth is going to be the one by the gate on the far side. I think there's just a little bit more comfort in that barrow than there is the young man that lands in 5, but still very robust in their cage. Big centered types of barrows. Just ran into some real heat on the top side of this division. Again, let's congratulate those exhibitors for what they brought out today.
Congratulations to Jay Stetzer having this year's champion bred and known barrow. His banner was sponsored by Brock and Dawn Laufenberg. Congratulations to Cole Laufenberg having this year's bred and known reserve champion barrow. His banner was sponsored by Game Day Show Pigs. Coming into the ring now, we will have our lightweight A gilts. These gilts are ranging from 230 to 234 pounds.
So Game Day Show Pigs is Spencer's, and they sponsored the reserve reserve, and the Brock and Dawn sponsored the Grand, which was Jay.
I didn't realize that's who that was. I was like, who the heck are these people? So here's the sentence.
Market gilts out here, and I think there's 2 of them that definitely push each other and really contend for this class. I'm gonna go with the young lady in the pink shirt over here. Both of them very square from blade to ground. I love that about them. They're opened up in their center. They got plenty of rib and dimension from their back. I think we just got a little bit more market hog in the young lady's belted gilt that wins the class. Ideally, I fixed both of them off the rear 2, and I think the young lady that lands in 2 is a shot more comfortable there. We'll certainly give that back to her, but there's just a sheer extra product in there. From there, the young man that lands in third, there's just simply more market hog than the young man in four. That's another one that's just opened up more, and its blade expands more dimension down the top side of his skeleton. I want to lay them both back more correctly in their shoulder and stouten them up compared to what's above them in class. Let's go ahead and give those exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Haley Hansen with a first blue, Emma Campen with a second blue, Emmett Sendelbar with a first red, and Wyatt Berg with a second red. Coming into the ring now, we have our lightweight B gilts. These gilts are ranging from 236 to 248. On deck, we would like our medium weight A gilts.
I think there's some differences all the way you can talk through and where you put your priorities, but in terms of just where I'm going to land my priorities, and the one for me in my mind that is the best market hog out here, young man's belted one in the center of the ring. Ideally, I want to make her more comfortable off of her rear too, but after that, that's one that is a very good type of market hog. She's the one that's almost open in her chest floor. She's the biggest on the top side of her skeleton, and she still has some rib cage, some flank, and some forearm. Really like that about her. Like I say, I like to give her a new set of running gear behind, but similar can be said for the young man's wide belt out here that lands in two. One that starts to get a little more upright and rigid there, but from there forward, that's another one that is just massive in its bone work, big in its forearm, big in its blade, has more sheer muscle dimension and mass, doing the basics of a good market hog for me than the young lady that lands in third. The one in third is the most comfortable in its skeleton. I love that about that one, and it's fresher. Love what she's done with the skin and hair is definitely on point. Just not as bold, not as opened up, not as much center as the others in the class. The EST market hog is the young lady that comes out in four. This is a market gilt that is the widest chested. She is working the most dimension from blade to hip. She's the stoutest going away from you. Ultimately, though, to her detriment, we got to change that skeleton. I got to lay her back more correctly in her blade, allow her to be more comfortable in her spine and hinge and go off of her rear too. I love the young man's Duroc lens in 5-1 that just from a sheer pliability standpoint, doing the basics with good leg and good foot and bone. One for me comparatively of the class. He is the plainest and the most nondescript from the blade to his hip. I want to change about her, just give her more true meat animal shape right there. Young lady coming out in 6, another one. This Yorkshire gilt is just simply presented to a T. I love that about her, how she gets her up and drives, but one that is the flattest and the driest in her rib shape, the most closed up underneath of any in the drive. Still working a ditch though. Congratulations to these exhibitors. Let's give them a round of applause.
Congratulations to Hugh Hansen with the first blue, Preston Yeske with a second blue, Katie Settlebar with the first red, Waverly Fanuc with a second red, Clayton Castle with the first white, and Grace Kling with a second white. Coming into the ring now, we have our medium weight A gilts. These gilts are ranging from $249 to $256. On deck, we would like our medium weight B gilts.
To make it happy, we're here for it.
Got it.
Also, anywhere to grab. Otherwise, bring me the computer so I can start typing.
Yeah, because we're...
Would anybody else like their shake now?
I'm on a diet.
Yeah, that's the last thing you need to be on. Are you going?
And probably the deepest one we've had all day. And this is what makes it fun. And these exhibitors are really out here maxing out the looks of their market hogs and pushing it. And ultimately, there's one that you just have to settle on being stout jawed, stout forearm, bold in their blade, their chest floor, pig pin set going away from you. Young man's market gilt here, belted one in the ring. Ideally, she's going to have more dimension of muscle on the top side of her skeleton, and that's where the young lady's blue gilt does excel that one. I love from her blade to her hip. I love that stoutness there. I love that stoutness of forearm and that bone work in that one. That's when she just gets a shot more upright and is not as mobile compared to the young man's. Another one, just a basic, very good type of a market hog. The young man's driving here that lands in 3. One that, compared to what's above him, is not as cracked open in the chest floor, is not as stout, particularly going away from you, but that one is still good and fresh on the top side of his skeleton, and probably most pliable in its makeup and comfortable as it's out here. Still a very good type of hog. Take nothing away from the young man that lands in 4. This is another one, ultimately very competitive, particularly on the top 2/3 of the skeleton. Love the look it gives you. It is bigger in its bone work than the young man in 3, but one, when you study him on the bottom side of the skeleton, you just need to blow him apart, expand him in his forearm and his rib to get any higher with the 3 above him. Young ladies definitely is more pliable in the center, and if you want to land a most comfortable EST on this one, I think you ultimately can, but after that, she just simply needs more total mass on that product. Put more ham on her as she goes away from you. The young lady come out in 5. This one does that, is bold and stout everywhere. Need to reconstruct her skeleton, flatter and smoother in her bone work and her joints. Round out the class with the young man's very pliable, athletic Berkshire-looking market gilt, one that does just give up quite a bit in overall circumference of bone and power of the rest of the class. Again, let's give these exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Chase Campen with a first blue, Kendall Campen with a second blue, Hugh Hansen with a first red, Brett Mossman with a second red, Alexa Blaken with a first white, Andrea Ellickson with a second white, and Jackson Peterson with a first pink. Coming into the ring now, we have our medium weight B gilts. These gilts are ranging from 260 to 263 pounds. On deck, we would like our heavyweight A gilts.
two are litter mates out here, and I have to describe them very carefully for each one of these because I'm guessing they know their pigs very well. Young man here on my left, one, I love that one where it opens up in its blade. It's fresh on the top side of its skeleton. I love the rib, how the center, the flank. That one has an advantage in a bigger hind leg that's stouter when it goes away from you. One I want to clean up on the bottom side in her jawline right there, and she gets a shot more crest up high, but where she gives me pause, she doesn't quite open up as much as the young man's ahead of him. The young man's ahead of him. That one is the bigger one on the front side with a larger forearm. She's bold in her blade. Love the center portions of this one's body, and is more correct and nearly level where she sets that and goes. Ultimately not as powerful at the base of his ham, but that is one, I think, just squareness where she plants and drives that hind leg. She is square and more correct there. Two very, very good types of market gilts out here. For me, it's a market show. We got to go with the stoutness. Young man with more power going away is going to go 1. Young man here is going to go 2. Breeding show, I flip that pair all day long. The young man coming out in third is another one that is big in his ankle, huge in his blade, tons of mass, and has the most shape working from blade to hip with that dimension. Love that about him. Got to change the skeleton on that one to get him up and playing with those front two. Love the silhouette on the side from the Yorkshire appearing gilt out here. It's when I step behind her that gives me pause. I got to open her up on the bottom side of her skeleton and just put more market hog there, but she is comfortable and more balanced from the side than the young lady in 5. One that does have the advantage in skeletal width over that one. Just got to lay that one back in its blade to allow her to come and go with more comfort and ease. Young man does have more reach out of his hind end in his gilt coming out in 7. However, there's just got to put more pig on that skeleton to allow him to compete with what's above him in class. Let's go ahead and give those exhibitors a nice round of applause.
So we have Drew Stetzer.
Congratulations to Drew Stetzer with a first blue, Sean Stetzer with a second blue, Luke Fisher with a first red, Jacob Kling with a second red, Waverly Panup with the first white, and Justin Kling with a second white. Coming into the ring now, we have our heavyweight A gilts. These gilts are ranging from 273 to 280 pounds. On deck, we would like our heavyweight B gilts. Then after that class, we will be bringing in our first and second blues from the eligible classes to select for our grand and reserve champion market gilts.
top end of this class and this drive, and both very striking and elegant from the profile. We like that about them. Young man's belted market gilt is one that just opens up with more chest floor, more blade, is bigger at the ankle, and more three-dimensional at the base of his skeleton. Young man's mass gilt is one, too, that just love the look from the side, love the comfort and pliability as she comes and goes. She is more centered. She is more set correctly in the angles of her skeleton. I think she is cracked open more in the blade, too, than the young man that lands in 3. Ideally, I'd make her a shot longer in her hip to allow her to command more authority, but more importantly, put more bigger forearm and front foot on her. Young man that lands in 3 is another one that is open in his chest floor, has plenty of muscle dimension on the top side of his skeleton, is big into going away. Want to change him in his center body to compete with those 2, but more importantly, lay him back in his blade, allow him to come and go with more comfort and ease. Similar can be said with the young man in 4. This is another one that works plenty of muscle dimension and shape up high, stout going away. Got to lay him back, be more comfortable as he comes and goes. Young man in 3 just simply had more hog. Young man in 4 with the white market hog. Another one comes out, is very pliable and probably more comfortable off of its rear, too, as the young man, as his advantage over the young man in 4. Just simply is not as much muscularity and meat animal shape. Round out the class with the Berkshire Pier Market Gilt, another one. We just got to add more top shape, more stoutness going away. Still super pliable, good in the center portions of his body and rib. Let's go ahead and congratulate those exhibitors, please.
Congratulations to Leo Forstein with a first blue, Jay Stetzer with a second blue, Parker Blaken with a first red, Trey Babcock with a second red, Xander Krasinski with a first white, and Aspen Krasinski with a second white. Coming into the ring now, we have our heavyweight B gilts. These gilts are ranging from 281 to 313 pounds. On deck, we would like our first and second blues from the eligible weight classes. That includes Hugh Hansen and then Preston Yeski, Chase Campen, Kendall Campen, Drew and Sean Stetzer, Leo Forstein, and Jay Stetzer.
top side of this class and two that are different, very different in their typing kind, and that's okay. Both of them, I love how cracked open they are in their chest floor. They're the best in the center portions of their body where they're different. The young lady that's going to win the class, that is one that's more correct in the angles to her skeleton. She ties her neck more correctly into the top of her blade, and I think she's a shot further inside herself when she goes away from you and maybe takes a longer step as well. But I sure love this market hog that lands in 2 as well. This one is the one just blowed open in its blade, has the most on the top side of that skeleton. There's a big ditch running down there, stout going away from you. I just want to blend her shot better in the from her neck to her blade. I want to bring her feet a shot more further inside her. Young Man lands in 3 is another one that just from the side, it definitely commands your attention. It's when you step in front or behind this one, he just simply doesn't have enough as compared to the 2 that are above him. The young lady coming out in 4, this one is one that does have enough in its chest floor, is big in its bone. One that you study him from the side, she gives up quite a bit in terms of just balance compared to what's above him in class. Still love how fresh she is on the top side, the shape and power going away. Similar can be said for the young lady coming out in 5. Another one that we just got to change the angles to her skeleton, but still heavy muscle. Lean made type of market hog that's big his pin set going away from you. That's what gets her over the rest of the class, particularly the young man in 6, one that is taller shouldered, but ultimately that blade is too far forward and that one's structure inhibiting that one's movement a shot more. Young man's blue one that comes out in 7, another one that to me, I love how stout and big this one is and his pin set going away from you, but one that just gets upright in his blade. It's his top side where I got to put more on him too. Love how pliable and comfortable the young ladies is coming out in 7, but one we just need to stouten up as bone work, open it up, and give it a shot more power compared to what's ahead of it in class. Let's go ahead and give those exhibitors another nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Taylor Laufenberg with a first blue, Lauren Norgard with a second blue, Sean Stetzer with a first red, Macy Casper with a second red, Haley Hansen with a first white, Brady Blaken with a second white, William Blaken with a first pink, and Waverly Fanook with a second pink. Coming into the ring now, we will be bringing in our first and second blues from each eligible weight class for the selection of our Grand and Reserve Champion Market Gilt. On deck, we will be doing our bred and owned for the Market Gilts, and then after that, we will be moving into our senior showmanship.
definitely some depth and quality out here. So let's give these exhibitors a nice round of applause for what they put together this year. There's 3 or 4 of them out here in my mind that you definitely got to stop and study, take pause and look at. Young man's lightweight down there, the belted one, just gets the shot frailer, gives up, want to change that one on the rear too. I absolutely love the jaw on the forearm. The young man here, the front 2/3 of that one are very good into the rib in the center. Needs a shot more reach off of his rear too. The chromed up one here is another one. You just love the silhouette from the side. One, I got to make her wider in his chest floor compared to the other 2 coming and going out here, and it's close in my mind. Both of these 2 are good in their center, good in their rib. They're good up high. I think there's one that just gives me a shot more shape and true meat animal shape up high, and then you step to the side, it's a shot more striking from the profile. The young lady out of the heavyweight class is going to be your champion. Bring that second one out. There's another very good drive, and definitely push that one. That one is the EST on muscularity, skeletal width, and bone work. But ultimately, just how that hip and hind leg works on this young man's here, I fall in love with that. He's going to be your reserve.
Spitzer, 141.
Congratulations to Taylor Loffenberg, showing this year's Grand Champion Market Guild. Her banner is sponsored by Lincoln FFA alumni. Congratulations to Drew Stetzer with his Reserve Champion Market Guild. His banner was sponsored by the Black River Falls FFA alumni.
Senior bound.
Coming into the ring now, we will be selecting for our Grand and Reserve Champion Bred and Known, after which we will be moving into our senior showmanship.
definitely some pair out here competing for it that are very similar in their type and kind. The mass barrow here in front of me, one that I think has more true muscle shape on the top side of its skeleton and goes away from me, stouter at the base of its ham. Young man's masked one here is one that is definitely stouter, featured in his jaw, bigger in his forearm, has more dimension, but does not offer more shape up high. And then when he goes away, he progressively narrows to the ground. When I analyze their flexibility and soundness, both are very similar. They're very tall fronted, elegant and striking from the side. I think we might just have a shot more reach. There's a shot more dimension on the top side, and I think there's a stoutness of advantage in skeleton. Young man with the mask here is going to land your reserve with our champion already being back in the barn. Congratulations to those two exhibitors. Very close pair. Take nothing away from the young man's Berkshire. Another one very pliable in the center portion of the body. He ran into two hammers on the top end of this drive. But go ahead again and congratulate those exhibitors for what they put together this summer.
And then Jay.
Jay won.
No, Sean won.
Sean won.
And then Jay Stetzer. Yeah, they're all siblings. So Sean Stetzer, Brennan, Guild. Okay.
Congratulations to Sean Stetzer with the champion Bred and Owned Gilt. His banner was sponsored by Jackson County Farm Bureau. Congratulations to Jay Stetzer having this year's Reserve Champion Bred and Owned Gilt. His banner was sponsored by Terry and Paula Hagan. Showmanship.
We need new batteries. We need batteries. Grant, we need batteries out of the office. We need batteries from the office.
Okay, so,
In there.
so Easton would be like the first red.
If you're just doing 2 blues, yes. Are you just doing 2 blues? Huh? Or, how many?
Yes. 2 blues.
What do you need? 5 blues? 2 of them.
Brandon, how many blues do you
Ship, and I definitely appreciate that. Makes my job difficult as an evaluator, and then there's a lot of preferences that get in the way and where I want to be, and kind of my own opinions too, what showmanship is. We hit a lot of shows throughout the summer at home, and every judge has their difference of opinion. But to me, what I land on are the top 2 of the 2 young gentlemen out here, and it's the first impression when they come out of the gate, and the profile that they give you, and then in that pair, there's one that he's just done a better job all day staying in front of the ring, knows where his pig is. I think he stays calmer too in any situation. He's a little quieter on the whip. Young man right here is going to be your champion.
Congratulations.
Take nothing away from the young man in reserve. That's another one. He's just calm, cool, collective, offers a show and presence. Where he beats the rest is when he comes out of the chute, how he gets that head elevated and comes out and gives you that impression that he's here to play and definitely compete. I love that about him. For me, he needs to get off the fence and get off the rail. Young man here in the black is going to be 3. That's the one he does. He stays in the center of the ring, does a better job of that, keeping his face. Doesn't move his pig with quite the authority that the young or presentation that the young man did. Young man coming out in 4 is another one that just, if you talk about giving you an impression, he's always been where he needs to be. He's kept the head up. He's kept the hog driving. Love that about him. Young lady coming out in 5 is another one that similar can be said. She just needs to get that pig to respond to her and come and go with more authority. And then one for me, and if you're listening in the back with intermediates or juniors, keep the brush off the back and keep the hand on the back. I'm good with the side, but it really deviates to the top. And, young man coming out in 6 is another one. Just stayed in the center of the ring all the time, kept his pig coming and going and moving. Want him to pull that head up, give you more of a good first impression, so he's very memorable when he comes out, but really smooth, like that about him. Similar can be said for the young man young lady coming out in 8 over here, the one that just starts to get on the rail from time to time, needs to compete for a spot in the ring. As we get down in the drive, another one, young man's Yorkshire starts to get a little acting up on him, can drive towards the side of the ring and get on the rail. Young man with the Duroc one that came out of the chute, you talk about first impression, does a really nice job. She starts to act up on him and wants to get back to the pen too. We get down and round out the pen. Ones where you just got to be more attentive, work on some eye contact, know where the judge is at all times, keep the hog in the center of the ring, skin, hair, presentation, all plays a factor into that. Let's go ahead and give these exhibitors a nice round of applause.
How many do you want to pull?
Congratulations to Jack Laufenberg being this year's top senior showman. His banner was sponsored by the Jackson County Junior Livestock Sale Committee. Congratulations to Jay Stetzer being this year's reserve champion senior showman.
Oops, sorry. Easton Arneson with a first red.
Also in that class, we had Easton Arneson with a first red,
Wyatt Berg with a second.
Wyatt Berg with a second red,
Grace Kling with
Grace Kling with a third red,
Fisher.
Luke Fisher with a first white, Katie Settlebar with a second white, Jacob Kling with a third white, Doyle Hagan with a first pink, Deacon Brown with a second pink, Evan Alexson with a third pink. Coming into the ring now, we will have our intermediate Heat 1 class. After this class, then on deck, we would like our intermediate Heat 2 class.
So he said between 4 to 5. How many more for place for the training?
Okay, what did you?
competitive things that I pulled my top four back that we're going to keep for the second drive, and it's based on first impression and then how you're holding on and controlling your hogs out here in the center of the ring in what you've done from that standpoint. And I'll tell you, there's some very good showmen left out in this ring that we're sending back to the barn. In my mind, young man right here is one. We talk about first impression. Very calm, cool, collective. Love that. Just got to elevate that head, get him going. Starts to touch the top side of his pig. Young lady with the blue over there, that's one. She was in the fight to catch a pen until that guy, he caught sight of that out gate, and then he took off, and then that's all she could think about as well. Young lady here, this is one just dog that he's starting to get broke down, wore out on here, needs to go back. Young lady in the pink over here on the far side, love the job she's done all day. That pig just needs to be more comfortable, allow him to catch in another gear as he comes and goes. Young man with the blue one here is another one. Talk about just catching a first impression, being aggressive out there, just getting your looks and your spots in the barn or in the ring and fight for them. Young lady over here and then young man, two of them, they just start to fight the whip. You want to start put in more work at home, get them to stay in the center of the ring. They just start to work the edges, and we talk about distance where they need to be. But just stay in the center of the ring, become more comfortable and confident with them out there as they go. Excellent job by all of these guys. Let's give them a round of applause as they head back to the barn.
Great. We don't get one. Okay. All right. So let's just start at 5. Yep.
Boy with the narrow belt. Girl in the green. And then it would be the young lady in the belted bearer right here, or belted. Yeah. And then the salmon shirt. And then the boy with the halter on. Then the gilt right here walking. You're behind me. Okay. Yeah.
We'll get to it here.
Nice stuff. Needs a new front tire.
Taylor fell off.
Oh.
Feeling Hanson or going third right, I guess. Well, I think Dan has it right. I don't know, buddy.
just some minor things that separate them. Of young man right here in front of me. One, we just got to continue to work on skin and hair, but super calm, collective. You make those transitions and you turn, make a larger loop so they're not putting torsion on those joints. Young lady with the masked barrow out here is another one. Just kind of where you put your hand placement and how you control that hog. Where because with a stick more of a guiding rod. The young lady here, the hog tends to get away from her from time to time, and some work that starts at home. Love how calm, collected the two young gentlemen that round out the class are. Ones that just need to maintain more control over their hog, get them in the center of the ring, keep them moving. The young man on the far side, his gilt, she finds the out gate fairly easily and takes a little bit to get going. But let's give these exhibitors a nice round of applause. We'll go back through and work the rest of the top end of this drive.
You got 4 and you released 5.
So 9 total. We should are going to be in the drive.
So, yeah.
Just throw an extra one.
Throw another white in there. We're missing some pinks. We're waiting on the pink ribbons. So we'll just have to notate.
So we roll one person, I think. Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Wait.
Oh, no. Take one pink out of there. Sorry.
One pink.
Or 1 white.
One white.
We owe 2 things.
We have 2 pinks.
Yep.
There we go.
So
There, we should be fine.
So tell Xander and Jackson we'll find them with pinks.
Yep.
Round of applause for the job they've done out here. All, I think, we got 8 out here are definitely out competing, working to win this showmanship drive. And in my mind, what I see out here of these exhibitors competing, there's just one out here that has excelled its class, and I'm very confident in the individual I'm going to use. Just having the best drive today of all the things they've done, all the things they've asked their pig to do. And really what separated these three out here is when they come out of the gate, out of the placing pens, and the impression that they leave on you, getting their pig on the right side of you, getting the drive, getting all three views for the judge. And then there's one out here that just, as the drive's gone on, they're the one that stayed at the right distance away from me. They've been comfortable the whole time, and what their pig has done, and I think wins it. And I don't think there's a discussion for what the job that they've done. That's the young man right here in the center of the ring. I think after that, it gets very close for 2 through 5, and there's a lot of it comes down to personal preferences and the jobs that they've done. The young man here, he gets a little close to me relative to where I want to see that pig, and distance-wise, young lady here, she gets a little further away. She tends to touch that pig, particularly on the backside, but that's a pig that she can drive that thing to the moon and back. Love what she's done. For me, it's just a personal preference, and it's where that hand and that brush has gone. Young man is going to be second. Young lady's going to be third out. Young man coming out in 4 is another one that just when talk about distance and spacing, that's one. He comes out, he's ready to show. He gives you that impression too. I love that about the job that he does, one that just gets a little closer to me from time to time, further up on me from where I like to be. Young man here coming out in 5th, another one. When he came out of the drive, that's what got you up to 5th when you came out of that placing pen. Super calm and collective. You got to get the pig going like he's doing now. Ask him to go. That work starts at home. We round out the class with 3 more excellent young ladies that did an excellent job showing. It's just little things, how they come out of the pig, where they're spacing in relationship to the judge when they ask that pig to come and go, and then how they're acting today too. Are they on the rail, or are they in the center of the ring working how you ask them to do? But let's go ahead again and congratulate all these tremendous job of showmen, excellent on the top end, nice work in the intermediates. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Sean Stetzer receiving a first blue and being this year's top intermediate showman. His banner was sponsored by the Jackson County Junior Livestock Sale Committee. Also, congratulations to Drew Stetzer coming in with a second blue, being our reserve champion intermediate showman. Also in these classes combined, we had Morgan Berg with the 3rd blue, Nolan Norgard with a 4th blue, Adam Mossman with a 1st red, Alexa Blaken with a 2nd red, Julia Berg with a 3rd red, Macy Casper with a 4th red. Then we had, in no specific order, we had Andrea Ellison with a 2nd pink, Brady Blaken with a 1st pink, Julia Brown with a 3rd white, Haley Hansen with a 2nd white, Kendall Campen with a 1st white, Hugh Hansen with a 3rd red, Justin Kling with a 3rd pink, Xander Krasinski with a 2nd pink, Jackson Peterson with a 3rd pink, Waverly Up with a 1st pink, Grand Ruzick with a 2nd white, and Peterson Yeski with a 1st white. Preston Yeski with a. In the ring now, we will have our beginning showman with our first heat.
Here, a nice round of applause. We got most of this is just simply not the exhibitor's fault, but animals that are starting to act up out here in the ring and not really do what they want them to. But I think I'll just go ahead and talk them in order how I see them. Young man right here in the center of the ring. As he drive goes on, he's starting to get his pig to act and do what he wants to, but one that just fights him, wants to stay on the rail, didn't give quite as good a first impression. Similar can be said with the young man here in the center. One, just work on distance, compete with getting your look. We remember when you come in the ring. And next out's going to be a young lady right here. That thing, she came in, gave me a tremendous look. She's had a control of her pig all day long, so it's done a nice job. Young man here, he was going to get, he'd be one that definitely early on in the day you'd consider getting pulled, and did an awesome job too. But as the drive wears on and this one starts to run on him and give him a little bit more attitude, we'll send those back to the barn. So all very good, just little things separate them. Continue to work at home, continue to work and build for next year, getting your animals out, driving them, working with them, so they're comfortable and they get in the ring. Give them a round of applause and we'll work your second flight.
Leo.
heat in this drive. I think I kept more than I've kept all day, but take nothing away from the two young exhibitors out here. Young man's pig definitely comes and goes. You can tell he's out working it. She's definitely been mobile. I like that about just working spacing for next year, keeping her in the center of the ring and controlled. The young man over there, really calm, cool, and collective. Love how he came in the ring. Just as the drive goes on, the pig gets a little more disinterested in driving and showing. But two exhibitors that just ran into a buzzsaw of a showmanship class. Let's give those a nice round of applause.
Dan, who's in the last pen?
So the two that left
Let's go ahead and give our exhibitors a nice round of applause for the work they've done out here. As I say, this showmanship deal starts at home. And just talk a little bit about, I mean, we're out in the yard every night, 3-4 hours in the barn. We got a set of 9 with the kids out. We're constantly working and putting the work in at home too. And I guess before I start all that, I just want to say thank you again for inviting me back up to Jackson County to evaluate. Tremendous amount of kids out here, all fighting and doing an excellent job with it. And there's a lot back in the barn too. I think you've got a quality depth of hogs back here, and definitely a quality show. So that should be recognized. And definitely, I can tell you, exhibitors, go ahead and thank your parents, thank your grandparents, and thank your support system to who you brought out here and who's been pushing you behind the scenes, because you can definitely tell. But with that said, out here, I think you can tell all these 3 exhibitors, they've done the work at home. They've put in the legwork. Skin and hair presentation is on point. I love that about them, what they're doing out here. And they get out here and they compete and they get after it. And I got the top 4 out here because I think they're all very deserving of some recognition. And then in that top 4, I think there's 2 that just, as the drive continues to go on, they separate themselves. All 4 of them, they do have spots that they can change, and just little things I've caught throughout the drive, and I'll be the first one to admit that. But I think there's ones that just continue to separate themselves. When they come out the gate, they'll give you a good look, heads up. Young lady with the masked one here just got a little awkward when she was coming out, but I'll have one that just can avoid chaos and keep that hog coming and going. She does a nice job. Right here, another one, masked gilt. She knows she has a good hog. She can avoid the chaos and everything. She gets it to go, and she gets it to go at a great pace. Young man right here with the barrow is another one. You talk about one where you don't even notice the showman. He just gets that thing cranked up and it comes and goes. He can get hidden once in a while and tucked in behind a few. And then the young lady right here, this is one, and she's a competitor. She drives to compete, and that's some of my pet peeves as a judge. Sometimes it gets a little bit too excessive, like when they're coming out of the chute or they're coming out of the ring. She can cross over and get in front of ones that I'm looking for, but she's out there, she's fighting, she's competing for her look, saying, hey, I got a good one too. But I think there's been one out here that's just been a true constant. She's done an outstanding job all day, stayed calm, collected. The other one I drive home with my kids is 1, don't touch the top of the pig, and 2, don't turn them on the joints. Make good wide U-turns and shapes. And the only one I've caught out here that hasn't pivoted on a joint so far as I've been watching is the young lady right here. She's going to be your champion. Take nothing away from the ones out here in 2, 3, and 4, because they're competing, but there's one just avoids chaos. Love the pace she's doing. Young lady on the far side is going to be reserved. Love that about her. And then continuing to fight and compete out here, does an excellent job. Young lady here with the blue barrow is going to be 3rd. Round out young man here is going to be 4. Tremendous set of showmen. Congratulations to them all. We get down the ring. There's just things that separate them. You guys got outgamed. I hope you were watching what they've done. But young man here, he was in the thick of it. Starts to wear down. Starts to want to run away. Not as intense or as attentive as the ones above him. Young man here coming out of the cool shirt. He just gets a little closer on the ring. It's distance, where they stand, where they go. Right here with the Duroc one, the Duroc starts to run the young man a little bit faster and away from the pig. Get down the class ones that we just got to learn to get those hogs to drive their heads up and get them going in presentation, like what you've seen on the top end of the class. Very good showmanship from top to bottom. Congratulations to the kids. Congratulations to the parents and everybody in Jackson County. Great set of pigs, even better group of kids. Thank you for letting me judge your hog show.
Okay. Congratulations to Laura Norgard receiving first blue and being our top beginning showman. Her banner was sponsored by the Jackson County Junior Livestock Sale Committee. Coming in second, we had Taylor Laufenberg. Congratulations, being this year's reserve champion, beginning showman. Also throughout these heats, we had Emma Campen with a 3rd blue, Chase Campen with a 4th blue, Cole Laufenberg with a 5th blue, Aiden Setzer with a 6th blue, Clayton Castle with a 7th blue, Trey Babcock with an 8th blue, Aspen Krasinski with a 9th blue, Leah Blaken with a 10th blue. And then also among the 2 classes, we had Parker Blaken with a 2nd red, William Blaken with a 1st red, Sadie Brown with a 3rd red, Leo Forrestine with a 4th red, Brett Mossman with a 5th red, Emmett Settlebar with a 6th red. And again, we would like to thank Ben Drescher for doing judging this year's 2023 Swine Show. We appreciate having you here in Jackson County again. Let's give them a round of applause.
Call up the exhibitors.
Now we will be moving into sales selection, so we are asking all exhibitors to please come up into the ring to get this set up.
Thank you.
As we prepare then for the sales selection.